public trust, but the bill betrays it. It's bluntly asking us to trade justice for revenue and accountability with administrative convenience. In the name of reform, what the bill is actually handling us is simply receipt of mistakes. We are told that the financial trade of justice is a good idea because it will encourage ease of doing business in the country. But let me tell you, sir, the government decision to remove punishment across multiple laws is no less than a disaster in the making. The biggest concern I would like to flag is the serious threat to the women's safety that this bill presents, especially at the time when every woman in the country deserves stronger protection, not weaker laws. Under the Railways Act, Section 145, dealing with the drunken and disorderly behavior on trains, currently carries only 24 hours of imprisonment, which is laughable, inadequate, which we see daily incidents of harassment faced by women passengers. And also Section 147 on trespassing into railway properties carry only 3 months, which should be at least 6 months, because the railway security is a matter of both national safety and women's protection. And also Section 162 that protects the women reserved compartments from male intrusions must strictly imprisonment, but this is not a mere rule of violation. It is a question of every woman's dignity and right to safe travel. There are also the bill has removed the necessary deterrents required for ensuring public health and safety also. Previously, provisions of Drugs and Cosmetics Act were meant to ensure that the profit-making incentives do not come to the cost of public health. Now, this government has removed imprisonment for those who manufacture and sell fake medicines and fraudulent cosmetics. This is at a time when illegal factories are already operating without licenses and duplicating the product. Rackets are running openly in many of the cities in India. Reducing the punishment from imprisonment to mere 1 lakh fine is not a reform. It is an open invitation to endanger the health of every ordinary Indian who cannot tell a genuine product from a dangerous or fake product. So it is completely bizarre that the Section 51, which is also one of the sections in Disaster Management Act, this government has shockingly reduced the punishment for obstructing disaster relief operations also. A crime that previously carried an imprisonment up to 1 year, up to 2 years at least, when the lives were lost, has now been cut down to merely 6 months and 1 year respectively, approximately. So I ask this House, what logic explains putting our citizens' lives under threat? Under rising environmental risk and climate change threats, this government believes that obstructing rescue operations with 1 year punishment is sufficient. Sir, this is not reform, this is administrative surrender, and I oppose it completely. Under Section 15 of Petroleum and Mineral Pipeline Act 1962, this government upped the minimum punishment for pipeline sabotage, damage and illegal interference. Earlier, this crime carried a minimum 10 years, extendable to life imprisonment or even death. But now the punishment has reduced to minimum of just 5 years, sir. Pipelines carry the energy that powers this nation. And any sabotage or illegal interference is not a minor offense, but a direct attack on the national infrastructure and public safety. I therefore demand the original provisions be fully restored, because when you reduce the punishment for crimes against national infrastructure, you are not easing business, sir. You are allowing harm to this country. Sir, farmers and artisans, from one of the strongest backbone of this country, as my constituency, Bongir, at the time when these sections are already facing grave economic and environmental distress. Instead of providing better support from the government, this bill has done the complete opposite. It has removed the imprisonment from the Cattle Trespassing Act, meaning powerful individuals who repeatedly destroy a small farmer's standing crops will now face nothing more than a small fine. For our farmers, the destruction of even one harvest can mean starvation. And the existing law is only protection. So the government has now stripped our farmers from this safety too. This injustice has been done against our handloom weavers also. By removing imprisonment from the Handloom Reservation Act, the government is asking us to allow large manufacturers to freely flood the market with fake machine-made products at just 10,000 rupees fine. Wiping out the livelihood of thousands of artisans, our belief of the farmers and traditional craftsmen of my constituency, state and nation, I protest against the government move from rule of law to rule of fines. I would therefore like to conclude, Honorable Speaker, sir, that this reform is asking us to support the systematic dismantling of the fear of law. It is asking us to accept the money in the exchange of fake medicines that poison our children, to pipeline sabotage that threatens national security, to disaster relief being obstructed without consequences, to farmers and the weavers left defenseless against exploitation. By removing imprisonment across 21 laws, it is replacing the iron hand of justice with a cash box, telling every fraudster, every saboteur, every exploiter in this country, if you have money, you have nothing to fear. So, sir, this is what it is. This law has to be rethink about, and because the 21 laws they have erased the punishment. So this is my input, sir. Thank you very much for giving me.
Mananiya Shri Tejasvi Surya ji. Thank you for this opportunity. At the very outset, I want to express my gratitude and congratulations to Prime Minister Narendra Modi for bringing this massive decriminalization exercise, which is the largest in independent India's history. In one legislation, the government is decriminalizing 1,000 plus minor offenses. Perhaps this is a model for rest of the world to follow. Speaker, sir, I would also want to thank and congratulate the minister in charge for this exercise, Shri Piyush Goyal ji, who led this effort along with his team by literally burning the midnight oil and identifying across 78 different legislations minor offenses which were procedural errors, which were regulatory incongruencies, which were a hindrance to doing business in India, which had contributed to India's regulatory cholesterol. I would want to congratulate his team for the marvelous exercise that they have done by bringing in the Jan Vishwas bill, which is not just a story in numbers, but is most importantly an indication of the philosophical shift that the government has taken. From avishwas to vishwas, from suspicion to trust, from regulator to facilitator. And this is the foundation of building a Viksit Bharat. Speaker, sir, the Prime Minister and our leadership gave me the opportunity to be the chairman of the select committee that went into details of the Jan Vishwas bill. And we had the good fortune of assisting the Parliament in framing this law in a more comprehensive manner. When I was given this responsibility, I met the Honorable Prime Minister and I took his guidance. And when I requested him as to what his specific input would be on how the committee should approach this work, the Prime Minister said only one sentence, and I want to recall that with a lot of gratitude. He said, Bharat ab sirf chalega nahi, Bharat daudega. And all those provisions, all those obsolete, archaic legislations, which have caged India's entrepreneurial spirit, usko dhoond ke nikalna hai, expand the scope of the committee, identify as many provisions as possible, and in one go, we must decriminalize as many minor offenses as possible so that the ease of doing business and ease of living for our citizens is enhanced. मुझे आज ये कहते हुए अत्यंत गर्व है, अध्यक्ष जी, कि कमिटी के सभी सदस्य, I was just hearing to the speaker from the Congress saying that they opposed this bill tooth and nail, but there were many members of the Congress party in the select committee. Every single provision, every single recommendation of the Select Committee has been done in a unanimous manner. Every single person, irrespective of the political complexion, has supported the recommendations we have made. Adhyaksh ji, the original bill had 17 acts covering 10 ministries with a total of 355 provisions. As per the Prime Minister's guidance to enhance the comprehensive nature of this bill, to help the common man, the common citizen in ease of living, we enhanced the scope of the exercise. And today, the government has brought a total of 689 provisions across 78 legislations, resulting in the removal of 1,000 plus criminal offences. This is the largest decriminalized exercise in the independent India's history. Adhyaksh ji, I want to very briefly mention what are the provisions that we have handled here. The speaker from the Congress party mentioned that this is going to enhance corruption, this is an administrative surrender, and so on and so forth. But the philosophy behind introducing these minor offenses, making even procedural errors into criminal prosecution-worthy crimes, had literally crippled the country's entrepreneurial spirit. And this philosophy had left nobody. मैं आपको एक उदाहरण देना चाहता हूं अध्यक्ष जी. एक एक्ट था, कैटल ट्रेसपास एक्ट 1871. 155 years old एक्ट था ये, ब्रिटिश के जमाने का एक्ट. एंड व्हाट डज दिस डिक्रिमिनलाइज? अगर किसी एक किसान के गाय उनके जानबूझ के नहीं देखते हुए, विदाउट हिज नॉलेज, वो अगर किसी दूसरे व्यक्ति के प्रॉपर्टी पे चले जाते, देन ही वाज सब्जेक्टेड टू इम्प्रिजनमेंट. ये इस प्रकार के एंटी फार्मर लेजिस्लेशन 155 ईयर्स से भारत के स्टैट्यूट बुक्स में था. और आज प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में किसान को मदद करने के लिए इसको हमने डीक्रिमिनलाइज कर रहे हैं, उनको ताकत दे रहे हैं. ये छोटे छोटे ऑफेंसेस थे, ऐसा नहीं था कि वो जानबूझ के किसी को कर रहे थे या इसमें कुछ दुरुद्देश्य था या क्रिमिनल इंटेंट था, बट दे हैड ब्रॉट दिस काइंड ऑफ प्रोविजंस. अध्यक्ष जी, असम में, वेस्ट बंगाल में लाखों करोड़ों संख्या में चाय बागान में काम करने वाले लोग हैं. अगर चाय बागान के कर्मचारी लेडजर में, अकाउंटिंग में कुछ गलती की, 10 डालने के जगह में उन्होंने 11 डाल दिए, तो उनको 3 महीने का सजा था. ये छोटे छोटे गलतियां, प्रोसीजरल एरर्स, क्लरिकल एरर्स, इसके लिए जेल भेजने का प्रावधान था, उसको हम खत्म कर रहे हैं. अध्यक्ष जी, आज आंध्र प्रदेश हो, केरला हो, बड़े संख्या में वहां कॉयर की इंडस्ट्री है और वहां प्रॉन के सेलिंग का भी एक बड़ा इंडस्ट्री है, फिशिंग का. बट अंडर द एमपीडा एक्ट and under the Coir Industry Act, frivolous procedural errors were attracting 6 months, 1 year, 2 years of imprisonment. This was always keeping our small farmers, fishermen, under the fear of prosecution. इसको हम change कर रहे हैं, and we are giving them empowerment and strength. And patent acts में अगर कोई टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट है, इनोवेशन कर रहा है, in the process of filing his patent, if there is any procedural error, he would be facing criminal prosecution. So, ये जो कांग्रेस की, ब्रिटिश की मानसिकता थी 70 साल की, ये किसी को नहीं छोड़े थे. छोटे किसान से लेकर छोटे दुकानदार तक, छोटे उद्यमी से लेकर बड़े व्यापारी तक, और लैब में काम कर रहे टेक्नोलॉजी इनोवेटर तक, सबको क्रिमिनल प्रोसिक्यूशन के डर लगाकर सबको अंदर भेजने का एक प्रोसिक्यूशन का डर, ये इस प्रकार के फिलॉसफी पैदा कर दिए थे. टुडे ऑल दीज माइनर ऑफेंसेस आर बीइंग डिक्रिमिनलाइज्ड एंड era of faith-based, trust-based, empowerment-based, facilitation-based mechanism is being brought in because of the Jan Vishwas bill. Adhyaksh ji, along with this, 2 important dimensions of ease of living is also introduced. NDMC में, न्यू दिल्ली म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन में, पिछले 30 साल से यहां के लोगों का डिमांड था, दिल्ली में 2 प्रकार के प्रॉपर्टी टैक्सेशन होता था. यूनिट बेस्ड टैक्सेशन सिस्टम ओल्ड दिल्ली में चालू था, बट न्यू दिल्ली म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन के इलाके जो थे वहां दूसरी प्रकार की टैक्सेशन होते थे. एंड दिस वाज अ वेरी अनॉमलस सिचुएशन वेयर वन सिटी हैड टू डिफरेंट प्रॉपर्टी टैक्सेशन सिस्टम्स. मैं विशेष रूप में गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी को मैं बधाई देना चाहता हूं, धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं. 30 साल के जो मांग दिल्ली के न्यू दिल्ली निवासियों के जो मांग थे, इट इज फाइनली बीन अप्रूव्ड एंड वन सिटी वन टैक्स का यूनिट एरिया टैक्सेशन आज लागू हो चुका है. इसमें मोटर व्हीकल्स कायदे का भी कुछ इंप्रूवमेंट्स हमने किए हैं. अध्यक्ष जी, यू आर अवेयर दैट इफ देयर इज एन एक्सीडेंट एंड समबडी लूजेस अ लिम्ब और लाइफ, सरकार की ओर से कभी कभार एक्स ग्रेशिया पेमेंट देते हैं, कॉम्पनसेशन देते हैं. अभी तक कानून में यह प्रावधान था कि अगर किसी व्यक्ति को, ये परिवार को सरकार की ओर से एक्स ग्रेशिया पेमेंट अगर मिलेगा तो प्राइवेट कंपनी जो उनको इंश्योरेंस क्लेम देगा उससे वो डिडक्ट हो जाएगा. दिस इज नाउ रिमूव्ड एंड we have amended in such a manner that along with the ex gratia payment that they will receive from government, a full settlement from the insurance company will be provided to those who suffer from an accident. ये आम आदमी के जीवन के आसानी करने का तरीका है. अध्यक्ष जी, छोटे छोटे इस प्रावधानों में बहुत बड़े दिक्कतें होते थे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल ईज ऑफ लिविंग के जब हम बात करते हैं, अगर किसी व्यक्ति अपने ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस को ठीक समय पे रिन्यूअल नहीं किए तो उनको इमीडिएटली पकड़ते थे, ये होता था, फाइन होता था. हमने इस प्रावधान के अंदर 1 साल के उनको एक एडिशनल प्रोविजन दे रहे. फॉर 1 एंटायर ईयर before the expiry of his term, he can apply for driving license and get it done. And upon expiry, for 1 month, 30 full days, he will have a grace period where the driving license will be valid and he can use it. ऐसे छोटे छोटे प्रावधान, there are hundreds of such provisions, अध्यक्ष जी, that is going to enhance the ease of living of the people. But अध्यक्ष जी, जब मैं इस सब बात कर रहा हूं, मैं एक